Hey guys, we're here today to talk to you about some of the books that we hope to read before the end of 2017. We're going to try and be very ambitious this month and try and read quite a few more books before the end of the year is up. So without further ado, let's discuss the books.
So the first book I want to get to in December is New World Ashes by Jennifer Wilson. Now we included New World Rising, which is the first book in this trilogy, in our June box this year. And I read it for Booktubeathon in the summer and really enjoyed it, but I haven't picked up the sequel yet. So Karina actually gave me this signed copy here. I actually have it all tabbed out so I can read it in quarters. I'm prepared. And I'm really excited to get to the second book in this dystopian trilogy. The first one was super fast-paced and really fun, and I think if you like dystopian, you're gonna like this series as well, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
So I'm definitely in the mood to read some holiday books this month, and I'm hoping to get to The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Hand. This is kind of a retelling of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, where our main character, Holly Chase, is visited by the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future 5 years ago, and she's told to mend her ways, and she doesn't, and then she passes away. So now she's kind of in this limbo where she has become one of the Christmas ghosts. It sounds like a really unique kind of take on the story, and I think it'll be perfect to read this month.
The first book on my December TBR is a reread for me. It's A Wrinkle in Time by Madeline. This is a classic must-read for anybody of any age as far as I'm concerned, but because the movie is coming out in March, I want to make sure that it's fresh in my memory, so I'll be reading it over the holidays.
Next up, I have Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Myracle, and this has been on my Christmas TBR for 3 years? I've been meaning to read this for a very long time, and this year is the year. I read Turtles All the Way Down right after it came out, and it really just reminded me how much I love John Green's writing. So I'm excited to get into these 3 little Christmas stories, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun.
So the next book that I want to get to is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I don't know too many details about this. All I know is that it's superheroes and it's Marissa Meyer, so I'm super excited to read it. I've absolutely loved everything that Marissa has put out, so I think that this is going to be a really fun book to read this month.
I'm gonna bring things down a little bit with my next pick, which is definitely not a holiday read, but has been on my TBR list for ages, and it finally arrived at the library for me, and that is Men Explain Things to Me by Rebecca Solnit. This is a collection of 7 essays all about gender and misogyny and the way that men tend to explain things to women in many situations that they do not need to explain. We already know them. I've already read most of the first essay in here, which is all about how the author was at a dinner party one night and a man was explaining a book to her that it turns out that she had written, and he would not hear the fact that she had written it. So it sounds very frustrating, and I'm sure it will make me very angry at times, but I've also really enjoyed her writing, and I think it's an important thing to explore, so Men Explain Things to Me.
Next up, I have The Rift Uprising by Amy M. Foster. Again, this is a book I've had on my TBR for a long time. I actually don't really know anything it's about, but I know it's sci-fi. And I'm actually there's a quote on the back that I think, instead of a synopsis, it just has a quote on the back, and I think that's fabulous for this book. It's giving me Hunger Games vibes, so I'm just gonna read it to you. It says, I'm about to put my life on the line and they are safely sitting on their asses a mile away, watching this all on a bunch of camera feeds. I take a breath, irritation won't help me if things turn ugly. I have to empty myself of every emotion. I have to become a thing instead of a person if I want to survive the next 10 minutes. It's why we're called citadels and not soldiers. Solid, immovable objects, not malleable beings. So again, Hunger Games vibes from that, and it just sounds like so much fun, and I think I'll be able to fly through this one.
Another book that I'm really excited to get to is The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. This sounds like it's going to be a really sad book. It's about our main character whose mother has just committed suicide, and she believes that when her mother died, she turned into a bird. So our main character travels to Taiwan to try and find her mother as this bird. It sounds like it's a bit magical realism in here, which is my favorite, and I just think it's going to be a really beautiful story, and I've heard such good things.
Next on my list is a much lighter, more fun title, A Boy Called Christmas by Matt Haig. This was our first ever OwlCrate Junior pick in our holiday box last year, but I actually didn't read it because Karina built that wonderful box. Basically, this is just a sweet, funny book about Father Christmas before he was Father Christmas, and I'm looking forward to it.
Next up, I have Half a King by Joe Abercrombie. Now, I read Joe Abercrombie's more famous book, The Blade Itself, earlier this year and quite enjoyed it. And I believe this is actually a YA high fantasy. So I actually don't know very much about this world. There's 3 books in this series though, and I'm excited to jump into it.
And another book I can't wait to read is Dashing Lily's Book of Dares by David Levithan and Rachel Cohn. This is a just like a classic Christmas YA novel that everyone but me has read, and I can't wait to get to it. It's a Christmas story set in New York City where our two main characters go back and forth doing different dares all around the city, and it just sounds like it's going to be perfect. I've wanted to read this for years, so I am definitely going to make it a priority to read it before the end of 2017.
Next up is Mighty Jack and the Goblin King by Ben Hatke. This is the second book in the Mighty Jack series, and it just came out a few months ago, I believe. And it is a graphic novel retelling of Jack and the Beanstalk. I picked up the first one at the library and just loved it. It was such a neat take on the story, and I can't wait to see what's up for book 2.
And finally, I have another Christmassy pick, and that is My True Love Gave to Me. Again, this is a book of short stories that I've been meaning to read for years, and I think it's just going to give me all sorts of fun Christmassy holiday vibes, and I'm just really here for that this year. There are so many stories in here written by authors I love, like Holly Black, David Levithan, Jenny Han, and I am just really excited to get into another cute book of short stories.
And finally, a book that I have to finish this year is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I've actually had a copy of this book for almost a year. It came out in March, but I had an ARC and I still haven't read it. I'm halfway through and I am determined to finish this one. It's a story about our main character named Laszlo, who has always believed in this kind of secret and forgotten world called Weep. And one day his dreams come true and he is offered the chance to visit this city. So far, from what I've read, I've absolutely loved it. Laini Taylor is such a talented writer, and I've heard such good things about this book, so I have to finish it.
And the last title on my TBR for December is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the illustrated version. Or I may actually backtrack and start the whole series again with the illustrated version, but Harry Potter is always a Christmas favorite for me, and I owe them a reread. So whether I start with number 3, which is where I left off the last time, or I start back again with number 1, I will definitely be visiting Harry Potter World. So those are the books that we are planning to read before the end of the year. As always, we would love to hear from you guys. Let us know what you want to read before 2017 finishes up.
So as per usual, please give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe to our channel. Happy reading and thanks for being awesome. Bye!